The triumph of good over evil, although in some cases the lines seem blurred. Like when a hospital becomes a flashpoint in a war. You know innocents are dying. You also know that terrorists are using them as human shields. That's what's happening in Gaza. Two major hospitals have shut down, the Al-Shifa and the Al-Quds, both in Gaza City. The Al-Shifa is Gaza's biggest medical facility, a lifeline for the locals, but a military target for Israel. Israeli forces say Hamas has built tunnels underneath and they want to demolish them. So the IDF has encircled this hospital. Inside, they ran out of fuel. Israel says it offered to help, but Hamas refused. Hamas says Israel is lying. Now, this is a dangerous game of politics and military tactics. And at stake are thousands of lives. Let me show you what's happening at the Al-Shifa hospital. Doctors are operating on patients using smartphone flashlights. Take a look, and I must warn you, some of what you see tonight will be very disturbing. That's the story of many hospitals in Gaza. 20 out of 36 hospitals are shut. Gaza's healthcare system has collapsed. Yesterday, it suffered another major blow. The Al-Shifa hospital declared that it was closed. It stopped taking new patients. The hospital had no electricity, water, or medicines. The shortages began with the war, but for the past month, they managed somehow. They used generators to get electricity, but yesterday, they also ran out of fuel. And there were critical patients inside, many of them on life support. Without electricity, their machines stopped working. Some of them did not make it. At least 32 patients have died due to power cuts. This includes 3 premature babies. And there are others still inside. Local health officials are asking for a safe passage. They want Egypt to rescue the critical patients.
The accumulation of garbage and medical waste inside the corridors of the complex, the lack of water in the departments and bathrooms, and the power outages threatens to kill everyone present, including patients, medical staff, and the displaced, whose number is still estimated at 2,500 displaced inside the corridors of the Shifa medical complex.
Locals blame Israel for targeting a hospital, but Israel has a different story to tell. Prime Minister Netanyahu says they tried to help. Israeli forces offered fuel to the Al-Shifa hospital, as much as 300 liters, but Hamas refused to take it.
No, on the contrary, we offered actually last night to give them enough fuel to operate the hospital, operate the incubators and so on, because we have obviously no battle with patients or with civilians at all. And I think every civilian death, every dead baby is a tragedy. But that tragedy should be placed squarely at the responsibility of Hamas.
In their defense, Israel also released a video. They say it shows Israeli forces carrying fuel to the hospital. So Israel says it delivered fuel. It also says Hamas is using this hospital. It's a sanctuary for terrorists. According to Israeli intelligence, Hamas has built a facility below the hospital building. The hospital had a basement. When Hamas took power in 2007, they took control of the basement and they dug further underground. Israel believes this underground facility has multiple meeting areas. It has living spaces and storage facilities. It's a multi-story complex. Plus, it's not the only one. Hamas has other infrastructure nearby, like administrative buildings. Most of this information is source-based, though, and selectively leaked to the Western press. We do not have independent verification. But the U.S. seems to agree with Israel's assessment. The Americans, too, believe that Hamas is using civilian infrastructure.
And there is plenty of open source information, John, to indicate that Hamas uses lots of different civilian institutions, including hospitals, to store weapons for command and control, to house its fighters.
Hamas, of course, was swift to deny all these charges. They also say it's impossible to get fuel supplies due to constant bombardment by Israel. Locals in and around the hospital are simply too afraid to step out. They fear they'll be attacked. So Hamas is shifting the blame back on Israel. And amid this constant back and forth, hundreds of lives hang in the balance. This hospital, Al-Shifa, has 650 patients, many in need of urgent medical attention. It also has 500 healthcare workers and about 2,500 displaced locals who took refuge here. They're all sitting ducks now. The US says it does not want a hospital to become a battleground. The European Union has called for an immediate pause in fighting.
In this 27 statement, we ask for an immediate pause. I'm saying that in plural, not a single one, but several ones, pauses.
Israel will have to negotiate this carefully. Rising civilian casualties will mean higher international pressure. As of now, Israeli forces are at the gates of the Al-Shifa hospital. Hamas has suspended all negotiations on the release of hostages. Down south in Khan Yunis, there are fresh reports of bombing. The IDF says it has carried out 4,300 strikes on the Gaza Strip in the past month. The death toll has crossed 11,000, with more than 4,000 of the dead being children. So while demolishing the Hamas terror infrastructure is important, it is coming at an alarmingly high cost. The loss of innocent lives. Like I said, the lines between good and evil seem more blurred than ever.